Now shifting our focus to the West Asia, where the US and Iran made progress during talks in Switzerland towards reaching a final deal within 60 days, including the agreement to establish a committee and a mechanism to end hostilities in Lebanon. However, all this is dependent on the tightrope walk between US, Iran and Israel. Building on a memorandum of understanding signed last week, the parties agreed to establish a high-level committee. The chief negotiators will report regularly to the committee and lead working groups on nuclear sanctions and dispute resolution, according to the joint statement. The US has also agreed to establish de-confliction cells between the US, Iran and Lebanon. The goal of these cells will be to end all the hostilities. However, conspicuous by absence in the cell is Israel.
Historic meeting. Never before, outside of Islamabad and here, so outside the last few months, never before has the Iranian and American leadership met at such a high level. What the president has asked us to do is turn over a new leaf, to transform our relationship with the people of Iran and to extend an outstretched hand that says to the people of Iran that if your leadership is willing to give up being a driver of regional instability, if they are willing to give up nuclear weapons ambitions for the long term, then the United States is willing to fundamentally transform our relationship with that country. That is certainly our goal. As I think a lot of you appreciate, peace is never easy. Peace always requires a little bit of work. It always requires a little bit of give and take. But the President of the United States is committed not just to peace between the United States and Iran. The President is committed to a regional peace, which is why we're here working so hard to settle our issues.
And now Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi described the talks as having delivered major progress, saying that Tehran had secured what he described as waivers for oil and petrochemical exports, the lifting of the blockade on its ports, the release of some frozen assets, and the launch of a reconstruction and development plan. In a post on X, Araghchi said that the newly established de-confliction mechanism in Lebanon would be the first real test of the agreement. Araghchi's statement comes as Israel continues to pound Lebanon and its leaders come out and say that the agreement is not binding on them. The other area of concern has been with the Strait of Hormuz, which Iran has linked with the conflict in Lebanon. Trump had posted that Iran should control its proxies in Lebanon, while Iran has said that Hormuz will open only once the hostilities in Lebanon ends. This makes Israel the biggest concern for the peace deal, as Israel has made it clear that it will not rest until its military goals in Lebanon is met. The US has also added that its negotiators were focused on securing Iran's enriched uranium stockpile to make it effectively impossible for Tehran to rebuild its nuclear program. He added that the US retained significant economic leverage if Iran failed to comply with the agreement.